Hello and welcome to the 2021 Lake County Film Festival. This is the Q&A for the Welcome to My Nightmare Shorts program. We have one filmmaker with us right now, Maverick Moore from My Dinner with Werner. How's it going, Maverick?
It's going well. Thanks. Thank you for including me, and it's great to be here virtually here in Texas. So
Texas for the holidays.
yeah.
So it's funny, just this started out as the horror short film program, even though I do not really like horror films. I had a couple things that I really liked that, had been tagged with genre stuff. I mean, you played at genre festivals and stuff. And so I decided that even though none of them really are traditional horror movies, they are all kind of nightmare scenarios. So I went with, and I have a tendency to title programs off of songs. So I went with Welcome to My Nightmare. And I noticed rewatching everything today. Oh, I guess maybe, no, I guess you don't really fit, but you're close enough. You're close to murder, right?
Yeah.
That was actually murder.
Pretty close.
Enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
So both the science fiction program, when I rewatched it, I realized that they all involve murder, and then today as well. So Maverick, what can you tell me about My Dinner with Werner? Well, first off, I guess instead of the typical, and this kind of goes hands in hand. Usually, I'll ask the first dumb question of where did you get the idea to make this? But hand in hand with that, I want to know. Do you have all your sources documented that this is a true story?
Yeah. All right. So let me jump right in and say this was all born from our love and fascination with Werner Herzog and Klaus Kinski and their borderline murderous relationship. So for those that don't know, they worked together for over 15 years, made 5 films together. During that time, they have admitted to threatening and plotting to kill one another. And so they had a very tumultuous relationship. But in 1987, after working together for over 15 years, making 5 films together, they stopped working together forever. There are a lot of little reasons why, like, wanting to kill each other. But there wasn't a singular event that led to their separation. So we wanted to tell the story of what really happens and sort of set it all around a blind dinner date where Werner is on a date and have just a bunch of chaos go down. As far as what's real, what's not. So obviously their backstory, there's a lot of truth to that.
References to true things like the ship through the mountains and
right, like the rifle story in the film, for example, is something that Werner has told on interviews. I think even on the Letterman show, he says the same story, more or less. Kinski has refuted it, but yeah, these are some of the things they say, or in the film, the things they say and do are based on things that they've said or done in real life, but adapted. And of course, these characters are fictional adaptations; they're not necessarily the real people at all. They're exaggerations. But there was not a dinner date or anything like that. So that is in the spirit of Herzog and what he has said to do in some of his documentaries and making things up. That is entirely a dramatization. Everything in the film is to a degree a dramatization, but so it's based on things that they have said or done in real life, and of course their history is in fact real. So
did you take things that they said and reappropriate them in a different way?
Through adaptation. So we just tried to think about, really it was always story first, like what is the story that we're trying to tell here, and then we just did a lot of research through, everything, books, commentaries, movies, interviews, everything we could do, just to also kind of understand more of who they were and everything, and their relationship and their history and their work together. And then we just kind of thought about certain quotes and where they might be able to fit in the story, and adapted them that way. So it was all about kind of serving the story, and it was tough. There's there sadly wasn't a place for a reference to Werner Herzog eating his shoe, which is yeah, we had something written, it just didn't make it in. Or the jungle being violin bass, things like that, you know.
You should have just had a waiter walk past.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, it was in
for another table or something.
yeah, in the script, I think it was a later scene. There used to be an epilogue. There's a later scene where there was a cake in the shape of a boot, so like a Clark's boot. So that's what it was, but it didn't make it in. And there were things that we shot that didn't make it into the movie, that were either they were joke for joke's sake or reference for reference's sake. So again, the drive was always like try to tell the story as effectively and efficiently as possible. Hopefully we did that. I don't know, but that was the goal.
What was shooting like? You just had like one location. Was it pretty smooth and easy? You had some gags and stuff.
I mean, I can't complain. I didn't have to, you know, we didn't have to lug a steamship over a mountainous hill or anything. So it feels strange saying it was difficult at times, but it was. So the restaurant in the film was actually a set that we built. We couldn't find a location in our surrounding area that would let us more or less destroy it. So we had to kind of build one. And that also allowed us, though, to build one that looked a lot like the inspiration for the look, which is, of course, as people might have guessed, My Dinner with Andre. And the restaurant, or the bathroom was a real location. But everything else was totally created. But as far as the shoot, it was a long shoot. It was about 10 days. There were some challenges, some practical stunts that we did. But otherwise, I mean, it went smoothly and it was a lot of fun. And it was great because at the end of the process, it sort of created a little family. And yeah, it was a really special experience. It was difficult, but I think the difficulties kind of brought us closer together. And yeah, it was a special time. But there's some challenging stuff. There's some stunts and some squids, and
I would say on the one hand, you only have the tight locations and stuff, but on the other hand, you had a bunch of gags, you had fingers to blow off, and action to do and stuff like that.
Yeah, and some of the gags, like the physical humor, anyways, was improvised. So a lot of the stuff with the waiter was all that actor. His name is Grant Virtue, and the other actor's name is Trey Dickerson. Or at least I'm referring to the whole dart gag with the person in the background. That was all improvised. There were other things that were improvised. The little snippet after the credits. Gosh, I'm trying to remember everything, but yeah, some of the physical humor was improvised. And so those were kind of some of my favorite moments, honestly, when shooting, is because it was the one time I was able to kind of let go and just kind of really enjoy the actual process of creating something, seeing it literally come to life, and it's all brand new, and discovering things through that. If that was probably some of the more fun things to shoot for me. So
cool. So the last really big question I have is, has Werner seen it?
I get that a lot. I don't know.
We have tried afterwards, so.
Yeah, we have tried in a variety of ways, but I don't know. Here, ultimately, though, here's what I've often told people is, you know, I don't want to pester him too much with this. I just want him to keep being awesome, because that was the fuel for all of this, is his awesomeness. And I don't want to take any of his time away from being who he is, doing what he does, because that's why people love him so much and respect him, and, you know, rightfully so. And I just don't want to take away any of his time. And, you know, I don't know if he would like, I sure hope so, because it was made out of our love and fascination with him. On one hand, he calls like his imitators and whatnot professional bodyguards and stooges. On the other hand, I would hope that he might like it, because, again, we did put a lot of research into it. And there was a film that he participated in several years ago. It was kind of like a mockumentary of a Herzog documentary called Incident at Loch Ness. that Zach Penn wrote and I think directed. But Herzog was really impressed by that because of the amount of research and detail that writer and filmmaker had put into that film. I might have some of the details wrong, but more or less there's research involved. And so I would hope, well, maybe that's one thing he might appreciate about this, but who knows? Either way, I just want him to keep being awesome and not waste his time watching this film. So
I
who
mean,
knows? Maybe you'd like it.
I mean, yeah, he's been on The Simpsons playing himself. I mean, he seems to have a good sense of humor in everything he does. So I can't imagine he didn't search it out. And I'm only surprised that he didn't message you to tell you how much he liked it. So,
well, maybe, yeah, I don't know if he's the messaging sort, but if so, I would love that. And yeah, but he's played sort of exaggerated versions of himself in various things, and he's, I think he's even said that he thinks that he is funnier than Eddie Murphy in some interview he did somewhere. So I think he knows that he is a funny person, as well as, of course, a brilliant person. So
what's next for the film? How soon is it going to be just out online, or you have some distribution in mind? Or
we are working on that as you and I talk. So this is one of our, at least according to our plans, this is one of our last film festivals.
Just for the record, and that was on my top of my mind because I knew how long you've been on the circuit, and I had a film last year tell me the same thing. And 2 weeks ago, they won an award, and they were like, "This is our last film festival." I'm like, "It's only been 12 months since you told me that." So yes, so go on. So we're one of the last.
Yeah, it is. The festival run is ending. I think I have what is planned to be the last in-person screening in Texas, where it was, filmed this upcoming Monday. But there might be, a couple here and there that I'm not aware of or whatnot. We'll see. But overall, this is generally the end of our run, and we are trying to figure out what is next. That might involve distribution. That might involve a free online premiere. I honestly don't know. But when that happens, I would suspect that to be early next year, January, February, maybe as late as March, but I'm hoping and aiming for January, February. We will see. My fingers are crossed. I have no idea. We are also considering adapting this into a feature length story, or at least a longer story. So we'll see.
They need a, so I did have another program of shorts called "Oh My God, What the Fuck," right? And I think you would have fit in there pretty well as well, even though your form is very standard. There's a lot of moments that make you, what the fuck is going on? They need some sort of like a Dust channel. Dust is a shorts channel that does sci-fi. They need another one for like just weird, just call it weird shit or whatever. And help people like you and all these films that we've had a lot that would have fit in there.
I would love that. That'd
be great. Someone needs to start that. What's next for you? Another film, next film besides this feature, maybe?
Yeah, well, that's one thing. I've co-written 2 shorts. They're not, perfectly ready to go and shoot yet, but they're written, and maybe they'll happen, maybe they won't. And then I have another feature idea I'm kind of playing around with, but it's going to be something. I'm going to keep making things, keep writing until I feel like I got the script that I want to make, but working on it. We'll see what happens.
Awesome. Great. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. Thanks Maverick for joining us, and go watch some movies. See you later.
Thank you.
Thank you.